Radio for Skaro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 772. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
This is we've hit the end of our Series 12 commentary series with the Timeless Children, with our very special guest, Dr. Anita Sengupta, joins us on the commentary for this. It's like a big old long episode. It's like, what, 70 minutes long, I think it is?
Yeah, something like that.
Up there. Yeah, which is a trend because the next episode of Doctor Who will also be about 71 minutes long, which, of course, is Revolution of the Daleks, which will air next year by a few hours. 6:45 p.m. in the UK on New Year's Day, Revolution of the Daleks, 71 minutes long, 8 p.m. on BBC America, i.e. probably around the same time on CTV Sci-Fi, which I will never stop referring it to as that, given that it's the most generic name in the history of television networks. But
and the most generic service in the history of television.
Yeah.
I think you can find a way to do it with at least a little more derision in your voice.
You're right. I am like, well, just CTV Sci-Fi. I don't know. That's the voice I came up with, but it's exciting. I'm you know that they dropped a trailer literally 25 minutes after our episode on Sunday dropped. So like this is the longest possible time that we could wait between episodes to talk about a new trailer, and we're doing it now.
Except for the fact we're recording this on a Thursday night and could have waited a couple more days.
Could have, yeah,
at the weekend.
Just to let's just record this as an insert to the episode at a week after the trailer comes out. It's not like we don't necessarily do deep dives into trailers anyway, you know. It's just because it's all speculation at that point. But I will say this about the trailer. Jodie Whittaker is in it a very minute bit. She is like in prison, and I kind of like that because you would sort of assume at some point during the episode that maybe Jodie's doctor would get busted out of prison or gets out of prison anyway. But you know, if she's in the trailer as out of prison, then it's sort of like, well, why is she in prison in the first place? But like, basically, okay, she's like drawing little tally marks on the walls, either counting the days or counting the silence. I don't know, one or the other. And so she's there, and it's all like mostly Daleks and Captain Jack and the fam, and Chris Noth as Jack Robertson returning, and so that's what happened in the trailer. But I was going to say, it's been announced as well that Tosin Cole and Bradley Walsh are leaving the series. This is going to be their last episode. Yes.
There's also supposed to be like some sort of a heartbreaking twist or something. What if, take up the mantle from your Jodie in prison thing. Mm-hmm. What if something happens to Graham and or Ryan and Whittaker's doctor isn't yet out of prison and she doesn't see them die or leave or whatever.
I find that hard to believe.
Maybe that's the
unlikely.
Heartbreaking twist.
I don't know what the heartbreaking twist was.
That seems like a heartbreaking and dumb twist.
That's got a tragic.
Hey, all the emotional stakes, let's just take them away.
Yeah, just
also protect Tosin Cole at all costs.
He's great.
Led a rich life.
Yeah, it's I mean, this has been rumored for quite a while. Maybe not so much rumored as like almost like kind of expected, just because 2 years is a long time in the companion world. It's kind of rare that we have a Jenna Coleman that sticks around for 3 seasons. Amy and Rory stuck around for 3 years, but Rose is only there for the first 2 seasons as a full-time companion. It's not that common, and so we just kind of assumed that this would happen. And I think the penny dropped when Tosin Cole basically shot this episode last year and then went to Chicago TARDIS, thinking they don't usually let current stars of Doctor Who go right to a convention afterwards. And as I was interviewing him and seeing him on another panel that weekend, I just sort of got the impression he's done. He's done. There's a definite past tense to his anecdotes here.
The almost concurrent announcement of not that I remember the name of it now, but the U.S. show that he was cast in was, kind of a nail in the coffin.
Mm-hmm. Whatever happened to that? I mean, because COVID affected everything, so.
That's probably sitting in a can somewhere.
Or did they film
big
it?
Big U.S. debut.
Yeah.
Debut.
I know that. I know when he went to L.A., I think he was looking at prospects there as well. Because, L.A., they shoot the occasional television and movie.
Only when
common sense in his part.
Only when Vancouver's not full.
That's true. Or Toronto.
It's full right now. Everybody get out.
Or Toronto for that point. So yeah, that's something to look forward to. Captain, all the stuff is happening now, and at reading the Q&A between the two actors with Tosin and Bradley Walsh for one, but like there's a select quote in the one, I don't have it in front of me, but the one where Mandip Gill sort of talks about how Yasmin is really missing the Doctor, perhaps more than the other two fellas. And so I think her incentive to get back to the Doctor is a lot, really there. There's something sort of incomplete there. And I'm just reading that going, mm-hmm. Oh, yep. I am.
So you're saying,
here's some gasoline, pour it on that fire.
So you're saying Yaz and the Doctor just need a little them time?
I'm
Ryan
not,
and Graham are going to have to pay the price?
I am not calling next series 13. I'm calling it series Thasmin, because that is what's happening.
Thasteen, in fact.
Yep, Thasmin. I'm on board. I am on board that train. Why not? Let's have fun. Let's see where it goes. Wouldn't that be exciting? I think it'd be kind of neat in a way.
I think it's only fair if you string along two romances, or one failed, one pining with Martha and one not so pining with Rose.
Yeah.
Why the hell can't the Thasmin thing happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alien and human.
Well,
go on.
Okay.
Yes, it hasn't happened twice before.
I have 4 words for you, Chris. Delta and the Bannermen. There you are.
Well, yeah, but he was taking special hormones.
Well, Rose can do that. I mean, Rose could do that. Mandipka, Yasmin could do that. Could happen. I don't know.
Listen, they or won't they through 2 seasons with Tennant? I don't see, and Eccleston more or less.
Mm-hmm. And then
I don't see why they can't
after
do
the
it
fact,
with,
Tennant came out and said there's absolutely nothing ever going on between the Rose and the Doctor.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. The internet says otherwise.
Yeah.
Let's. The internet. Their opinion counts less than David Tennant's direct words.
Well, all right, you got me there.
Let's put it this way. I mean, I'm on board with Team Thasmin just because there are a lot of people who are. But I'm also on
you're
board.
A follower.
I'm a bit of a follower. You know what makes them happy? Whatever. I'm happy. They're happy.
Why is Chris the iconoclast? Quit stealing my thunder, boy.
But also because Chris, it slightly annoys you, and that's kind of why I'm on board with it too.
That's reasonable. No, it's my Doctor just doesn't get busy with companions.
I know. Well, maybe it's changed.
I'm not saying get busy. I'm just saying tease us a bit like they did with the other Doctor, with 10 and to a lesser extent 9.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
I think it was a little more overt at the end of the Doctor dances.
A little bit
between Jack Rose and the Ninth Doctor.
Yeah, I think there was. I mean, the 10 Rose one. It did feel very YA in retrospect compared to what has come since. I think there's a weird.
It was also early.
It's also very early.
But you just described a thruple in the first season of Doctor Who, and we're not allowed to have Yasmin give her moon eyes? Come on. I love we've been recording our miniscopes for the Rachel Talle miniscope, which is coming out later, probably next year. And, been watching like Capaldi Coleman episodes again. And that just reminds me, like, this is probably like the most mature companion Doctor relationship that isn't romantic, but is certainly... there is a genuine affection there. And I think that a Thasmin relationship, which is completely on board with Thasmin now, I think that sort of relationship would somewhere veer between 10 and Rose type and Dr. Jenna, Clara relationship, like somewhere in that scale. Speculation that probably won't pay off in the slightest anyway.
Yeah, that's true. They'll just nerf it. They'll nerf it like the second episode in or something like that. It's like, oh no, we just, you know what? Here's the tragic thing. Here's what would happen is that they were full on we're just totally gonna do it. And like at the end of episode 2, they're gonna like kiss at the end of it, and it's gonna be very romantic and everything. Oh, then COVID happened, and now we can't shoot any of those scenes anymore.
Here's the other thing. Who's to say they don't introduce a new companion for the Doctor in this thing that they just haven't told us about? Well, because why would they? Wow,
They could. Maybe not.
It's possible.
I don't know if they will.
If she's stuck in prison, she's going to talk to somebody.
there were
Herself.
There were rumors for the longest time that Jack would be back in Revolution of the Daleks, and obviously it was a while before that was confirmed. And then were rumors as well that he was going to continue on with the series in series 13 as well. And that may yet happen. Who knows?
I will say that it probably will not be Jack coming in series 13. Just saying.
Well, John Barrowman is not in the UK filming Doctor Who right now.
No. So that'll do it.
How much we know.
That'll do it.
Here's my question. Right. Why is it people who have been invaded by the Daleks at least twice in the new series, at least, not to mention all the other times they've been invaded, have forgotten conveniently about the Daleks again?
I don't know. I suppose I'll have to watch
crack.
New Year's Day to find out. Maybe. Who knows? You know? Maybe they just forget. You know what? Like, listen, 3 times, I think, this calendar year of 2020, they said, by the way, that was a UFO. Remember that airplane that fought like that? Yeah, it's a UFO. Guys.
That's true.
And we're just thinking, whatever. We got a pandemic. We got Trump to worry about. No. Serious. That was a UFO. Aliens. There were aliens flying. I don't care.
The Air Force admits it.
Yeah. And like 2 months later,
UFO
what?
does not mean aliens, but...
Yeah, it's true, but
there's all this monolith business these days.
That's true.
Fish to fry.
Yeah, the monolith. Yeah, so who knows what that's probably as someone has posited on Twitter. It's probably the McRib. That's probably somehow some sort of or like Heavenly Heights shopping mall or something in Springfield is what it's going to be. Some nonsense like that. Anyway,
yeah. The truth is, they never tested the monolith.
They never did.
Well, they tried and it made us squeal.
I was going to say about the trailer before we go too far away from it.
No, I was getting right back onto it, so I'm glad you're doing this.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I like Yaz trying to put Jack in his place about being needy.
Yep, that was funny. Yeah, I like that. Their Daleks flying around and stuff. I can kind of get the gist of what happened with the Daleks. I won't spoil it here. Just because I kind of, but it's a trailer though. It's not like you can sort of determine what the plot is going to be from a trailer, and even the official, I think on the YouTube page of one of them is like it's the official teaser trailer. So there's probably another trailer coming before New Year's Day, even. So
the release date trailers they call it,
yeah. So that'll be exciting, but. I'm excited to be excited about Doctor Who again and to have a new episode coming on. I think this things have changed, and I know there's a sector of the population that just doesn't like Doctor Who right now. Okay, fine. But also I feel like there is, be it Brexit, be it 2016, be it 2020. But the default reaction to things these days, not just Doctor Who, but specifically Doctor Who for this conversation, is cynicism. Just like, oh well, it'll probably do this or something it's almost like we
not me.
It's almost like we have forfeited the choice to be happy about things. Like, just be legitimately happy about something, and even when they're going, oh well, sure Biden won, but he's probably not going. Something else is going to happen. Just take the victory. Be happy about something. So when Doctor Who's coming back, and they're thinking, yes, be happy that Doctor Who is coming back, and we got an episode to watch, and after this year of crap, we have something maybe to look forward to and enjoy on New Year's Day.
2020 being a giant. FU after another.
Yeah.
I can understand the cynicism.
Exactly. But now, the election went well in the U.S. By the time we're recording this...
There you go, getting political again, just like Doctor Who.
We're recording this on a Thursday. Literally by next week, there could be vaccines coming out. Science has once again saved us.
Well, vaccine... is supposed to be distributed in the UK starting next week. So,
exactly. In the US and here in Alberta, even where things are going into the crapper. So the vaccine is coming. Science has saved us. It is okay to be happy about things. It is okay to like things. You liking something is not some people in hospitals can't like things right now, so I must not like anything. Be happy for things. It's okay to be happy for things. There's no need to feel guilty about things. We're all going through a lot right now, and finding something that is happy and that you enjoy, like me with Doctor Who, is something to look forward to and to hang on to, because, as crappy as 2020 has been, and for the last 9 months we've been in this, more or less, we've got another like 6 to 9 months to go. As bad as it felt, we're just nearing the halfway point of this little race that we're in. So find the things that make you happy and latch on and enjoy them, damn it.
When it's more or less done, Doctor Who might be back.
Exactly. Doctor Who might be back in the fall. I was thinking, I just got vaccinated. I'm one of the last people in line to get vaccinated, and now I'm going home to watch Doctor Who. I mean, how
completely unrelated.
Celebratory.
Chris mentioned that monolith. I just thought of 2001. When that high-pitched thing comes, so it's set in 2001.
Yeah.
So 18 months later, the Discovery goes out. That means that's in 2001. So when the monolith starts screeching and everybody goes crazy, that's actually the release of the Phantom Menace. Stanley Kubrick predicted the release of the Phantom Menace and the subsequent reaction to it. Think about it, people.
Is it the Phantom Menace or is it Y2K?
It could be either.
Yeah, it might be Y2K. But anyway, Doctor Who's back. I'm pleased. I mean, we do a Doctor Who podcast and have done so for over 14 years because we like the show, and we're not like trying to apologize for it or anything like that. We genuinely like the show, and I'm genuinely looking forward to Revolution of the Daleks on New Year's Day. It's kind of the only thing I'm disappointed about is that for the first time, like ever, for me anyway, and probably for a lot of you out there, Christmas Day is finally free of a social occasion, and I don't have to worry about having to like cram in a viewing of the Christmas special before I jet off to some Christmas dinner somewhere else. And now, like the one day that I have Christmas off, like what do we do now? There's no Doctor Who to watch, so yeah. I suppose there's nowhere to go on New Year's Eve either, so really we're just waiting.
Business Zoom calls.
Yeah,
exactly. What are you going to do on New Year's Eve? Like, not that I go out on New Year's Eve anyway because it's always a nightmare, but yes.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's what's coming. Revolution of the Daleks, New Year's Day, to all the places that you like watching Doctor Who, wherever you are in the world. But you won't catch it on Netflix. You won't catch it on Netflix in the UK because Doctor Who is leaving on January 1st to wherever. This is the great, like, siphoning off now of the various streaming services. Because remember when everything used to be on Netflix? Doctor Who was on Netflix here in North America. I don't know when Doctor Who came onto Netflix in the UK, but now it's gone, and we don't know where it's going. That's the thing. When things leave, it's not like there's a joint press release saying, here's who now picked it up. So I don't know where it's going to be in the UK, but BritBox has launched in Australia, and unlike BritBox in the UK and BritBox in Canada and the US, where there's only Classic Who, Australia is everything. Everything up until Series 12, which I find, or maybe Series 11 at the very least, which I find quite fascinating.
Yeah, it should be 11. Well, should be 11.
So who knows where Doctor Who will wind up in Netflix. I think that, the 50th anniversary was a big reason for Doctor Who's popularity in this country, certainly, and building up to it. But also Doctor Who on Netflix, because when Netflix was like the ubiquitous streaming service and pretty much the only major streaming service before everyone else was sort of like, hey, wait a second, why are we selling off all our rights to Netflix when we could just start our own service and air our own stuff there? And then the streaming services became TV. But like when Doctor Who was on Netflix, I feel like that was like the peak of its popularity because it was just there. It was just there on Netflix. And now everything's sort of splitting off. And so I don't know how this affects Doctor Who in the UK, because I feel like that splitting off has sort of been happening for the past 2 or 3 years now. And I think we're just kind of in the midst of new cable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the obvious...
Except cable either works or it doesn't. I just went through this with CBC Jam. It tells me I've subscribed, and then it tells me I haven't. Mm-hmm. Cable kind of worked, for all its faults.
Did.
That's because you were paying somebody else to do it for you, not the provider themselves.
That's true.
That's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing about cable. What are you going to say, Chris, about...
I was going to say, the BBC put all of Doctor Who on iPlayer for whatever extended period of time. Off the top of my head, I don't know if it's still there for everything or if it's already expired or whatever. Uh-huh. But it's easy enough to stick it back on iPlayer. It's probably easiest as far as like tracking, payment stuff and who earns what for that. Mm-hmm. But BritBox being a BBC co-branded thing, although they're a dramatic minority, that would still be a viable place, obviously, as well. So
yeah,
somebody will pick it up.
I'm sure somebody will.
Somebody may have already picked it up, because as we've talked about before, Doctor Who for the foreseeable future, things like ratings and whatever on BBC or BBC America may not matter one iota because of all the international commercial distribution deals that are out there.
Yeah,
that should guarantee Doctor Who's continuation for who knows how many years.
Exactly. HBO Max is not available in the UK yet. I don't know if it will be, but that's where, after like a 3-month window, I think, on BBC America streaming, I think, does it go to HBO Max? I think. I don't know what the complicated setup is. So that's a thing. I mean, it would be nice to have sort of like a worldwide hub of Doctor Who on a streaming service. Here it's on Crave with commercial breaks. And, in the States, it's been, on Prime, it's been on Netflix, it's now on HBO Max. It's, there's all sorts of different homes for this sort of thing. It's kind of frustrating it a bit. Not for me personally, because I just buy them all. I bought them on I just thinking about it earlier today. I'm thinking, my entire life as a Doctor Who fan is basically spent buying multiple copies of the same episodes. Like how many? Like I own like everything on. Like how many times have I bought Spearhead from Space in my life? At least 3.
Probably. Well, at least.
Yeah.
I
think every fandom has this. Like people have bought multiple copies of Star Trek or Star Wars or you name it.
I finished off earlier today. I finished off the season 14 Blu-ray set.
Oh, nice.
And it's like, okay, how many times have I paid for Talons of Wang Cheyenne? That's at least 3.
Yeah, because it came out twice on DVD, and we bought it. And here's the thing: we're happy. We're happy. Bring it on. Yep, absolutely. Ooh, new one. Yeah, we'll buy it. Sure.
Yeah,
give it to us.
Now it's got revamped visual effects. Like, okay, Malibu Stacy has a new hat. Here's my money. I'm not
even care about the effects. I'm just like, it's got a documentary. It's slightly better video quality. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Yeah. Two notes before I forget, before we move on. Speaking of DVDs, Fury from the Deep is available now for pre-order on Amazon. I just did it today.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It actually showed up.
Tell me these things.
Well, I just did.
Clearly.
Because I just remembered. But alas, the season 8 or John Pertwee season 2 is still not there for Blu-ray. So if you're keeping an eye on that, I just helped you out there for a little bit.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And it's still DVD only, no Blu-ray.
For Fury. Yeah. But here's the thing. In keeping with the I'm buying everything twice, I'm going to buy it on DVD, and in like 2 years' time, I'm buying the season 5 Blu-ray. Yeah.
Season 5, yeah.
Because
I cracked the shrink wrap on Faceless Ones today. I haven't watched it yet. I just put it into the Xbox to watch, but
I haven't watched it as much. I watched the documentary, and that's it. It's sitting there. It's just I've been watching other things or like doing other stuff, playing video games for the most part right now. I demand these things come out, and then they come out, and then they just sit there. I'm the worst fan. Utterly the worst fan.
See that? There's no argument at all.
No.
The silence speaks volumes.
I know. Well, a little affirmation would be helpful, but...
Sure.
Yeah. Let's talk about some Big Finish. Doctor Who Stranded 2, the cover and more revealed. This is the one with Tom Baker in it as the curator, which is very enticing. This is, of course, Paul McGann's Doctor Who on Earth, stranded there, marooned in the UK in one house, isolated from his TARDIS in 2020. A little on the nose there, Big Finish, making this here this year, but
it was written and or recorded over a year ago before pandemics and lockdowns and whatever.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's traditional Big Finish, in my opinion, is recording stuff decades in advance and then finally coming out. So how prescient that is. But that's coming out in March of 2021, when some of you might be vaccinated. Just think about that. Again, just trying to keep it positive. We had a bad year. We're looking forward to the 2021 already. Also, Volume 3 of The Robots, not Kraftwerk's seminal 1978 single, but the Big Finish
or Kettlewell's seminal 1974 adventure, or 1980.
That too is also coming out this month. Actually, it also was recorded quite a while ago, as evidenced by the fact that David Collings, of course, who passed away this year, appears in it in one of his final acting performances in that, and a whole host of robots, of course, too. So yes, that's coming out this month, and also on the social media, it's exclusive social media scene that was released by Big Finish on their Twitter feed and YouTube feed. A special scene performed by Mark Gatiss as the Master and John Colshall as Chameleon. Yeah, you wanted to hear Chameleon, you got it. It's right there on the.
I do.
You do, yeah.
Now.
Well, it's there. It's all to big up the Masterful box set, which comes out on January 2nd, 2021. 50 years to that day since Roger Delgado made his debut in Doctor Who. So that's happening.
Crazy.
It's been 50 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. It's like 50 years since like the Beatles like broke up and stuff, you know. Think about that. Yeah, I know.
I was speaking, going back to the season 14 Blu-ray. I was watching the super duper long 75-minute Matthew Sweet Philip Hinchcliffe thing on the last disc. Mm-hmm. And Hinchcliffe starts talking about or as they're talking about Talons of Wing Chiang, Hinchcliffe mentions how they decided they didn't want the Master as part of it, so they created Magnus Greel. Matthew Sweet, his fanboy hat just poofs into existence. He's like, "You mean the Master was originally going to be Talons of Wing Chiang?" It's just so funny to see.
That the veneer sort of crack a little bit. I just think it's just professional.
He went from professional interviewer to fanboy, just like on the turn of a.
Well, like we wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just discovered a scoop. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty great. Speaking of sad, morose anniversaries, but the awesome Doctor Who 1980 Twitter account has been like basically chronicling the production of Doctor Who on the day of its anniversary from 1980, but also they've been working in John Lennon stuff. Oh, here's what John Lennon did today. Here's what happened here. And they're like, we're getting close to December 8th.
Because we're leading up to his death, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's going to hit hard a little bit. It's going to be 40 years since Howard Cosell broke the news to millions of Americans watching Monday Night Football.
But at the end, I mean, yes, every year it's because it's near my mother's birthday, so it's like I always associate the two. But so it always hits hard every year. But then I think back and I remember, he was a wife beating POS sometimes, so it's not that bad.
That's true.
That is not the turn I expected.
It's not going to sink him that hard.
Yeah. So. But not necessarily he deserved what his final fate was, but still.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And, yeah, anyway, that
wasn't why he was shot.
That was not why he was shot. Anyway, lastly, speaking of morose anniversaries and stuff, Dave Prowse, who of course is famous for appearing as the Minotaur and Doctor Who's The Time Monster in 1972,
and a bodyguard in
literally nothing else. He was in nothing else, just the Minotaur. Has died at the age of 85. He, of course, is famous for Darth Vader, but as Warren mentioned, he was the bodyguard in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, telling Ford Prefect to beat it.
Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
He said Clockwork Orange, but yes, he was also in Hitchhikers. Yeah.
Oh, he was in Clockwork. Yeah, I remember him because he actually speaks. You actually hear him in Hitchhikers. Beat it. I'm telling you to beat it in his characteristic West Country accent. Yes, 6'6", was in everything. Was a lovely gent from all tales told from many people across the Star Wars universe specifically, but played Darth Vader. Do you realize he was 6'6"? For some reason, I thought he wasn't as tall as that because, I don't know, Darth Vader never seemed 6'6" to me, but...
oh, he is.
Very
true. That's true, he didn't. He seemed like evil personified, but not 6'6".
No, like 6'3". He was 6'3" evil, not 6'6".
Yeah, he wasn't short.
And then you had the helmet on top of that, yeah.
And of course, a bodybuilder is when he was younger, which I think is how he got the Clockwork Orange role.
I think so, yeah.
I want to see the pumping iron version with him and Sean Connery. Sean Connery would be Schwarzenegger in that setup, I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
But, I know he had lots of like joint and whatever, leg and joint problems later in life and wheelchair bound and stuff.
Yeah.
At times and whatever, so it's... Always sad.
Always sad. But boy, oh boy. I mean, the voice obviously is a big thing for James Earl Jones of being Darth Vader, but just the presence, just the, it's amusing actually watching parts of Star Wars because he's, he even puts his hands on his hips briefly.
I love the hands on the hips.
As if he's Christopher Robbie in Revenge of the Cybermen. But like at various points, like the he's not a flamboyant presence as Darth Vader, but it's his stern, just like almost lack of movement, which makes that character so, just terrifying, really, because he's not like flailing around, which is what he did. This is kind of what gets me about Rogue One is that he's flailing around and stuff. Like Dave Prowse Vader didn't have to like fling stuff around; he just had to stand there, man. And he was
That's still an awesome scene, though. Yeah, that's still an amazing scene.
Yeah. Dave Prowse, Darth Vader for life.
Now I gotta say, even though Chasing Amy made a joke out of this, as a kid. In 1983, when they took off the helmet and it was Sebastian Shaw, I was mad that it wasn't James Earl Jones. I know it doesn't make any sense, but I was furious.
Or Dave Prowse. It should have been Dave Prowse. Give him his...
No, but I thought it would be James Earl. I don't know why I thought it would be James Earl Jones, but I was mad that it wasn't James Earl Jones. I'm like, what? Why isn't he black? This is nonsense.
Now it may as well be Hayden Christensen. So where did that take?
Listen, if you're going to go back and change the films, make it young Dr. Strangelove James Earl Jones. Damn it! Why the hell not?
The UK contingent, of course, will also remember him for being the Green Cross Man, but that's not quite got the meaning to us as it does to
not us. People. No, I mean, some people think of John Pertwee as Splank, the Green Cross.
What's our version of that? Is it the Body Break people?
Possibly.
I don't know about that. No. There's
Astar the robot.
Astar the robot.
I guess.
Astar the robot. Yeah, I can put my arm back on again, but you can't.
Yeah, terrifying an entire generation of Gen X kids.
Yeah. Anyway, Dave Prowse did not play Astar, but he did play Darth Vader and many other characters, and passed away at the age of 85. So that's it for our news today. After the break, we mentioned at the top of the show, it's the last of our Series 12 commentaries. It's The Timeless Children with Dr. Anita Sengupta. It's the end of our Odyssey, everyone. Series 12, our commentaries. The episode that aired on March 1st, 2020. This is probably my latest memory of the pre-COVID times. So therefore, it seems like it's an eternity away. Timeless, if you will. It's The Timeless Children. And joining us for this one is a very special guest, a rocket scientist and an aerospace engineer, and for our purposes, a Doctor Who nerd. It's Dr. Anita Sengupta. Hello, Anita.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. I know that you've been to Gallifrey 1 several times over the past few years. Isn't that right? Like, when was your first Gallifrey 1? Do you remember?
I think it was probably 3 years ago was my first one, and I have an interesting story as to how I got invited to it. So the gentleman who is the organizer for it also works at JPL, and I was having a conference meeting at JPL, and then this gentleman gets on the table to do something with the projector, and he starts speaking. I'm like, wow, that person sounds really familiar, because I had been to it, I guess, the year before. And so then I looked up who he was afterwards. I'm like, oh my goodness, you're the Gallifrey 1 person. And then I got the special invites every year after that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it's Sean Lyon. He is our good friend. He gives us the kickoff slot every single year on the Friday morning. Sometimes it's ridiculously early and such. He gave me the Christopher Eccleston slot for the interview on the Saturday in the before times as well, which is very exciting. So yes, it's nice that in some way, shape, or form, Sean Lyon, who is very happy at this time because as we record this, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series last night for the first time in 32 years. So everyone is happy right now, including us, to having you here on this podcast. So, and you are mostly doing like the science track on the convention, right?
Yes, I usually give some kind of talk about what I'm working on, and then participate on panels as a fan/scientist.
Mm-hmm. Which you might even get into over the course of the next 70 minutes, because just a little warning: sometimes we don't stay laser focused on topic for these commentaries. So if you feel like you want to sort of like veer off a little bit into general Doctor Who or something else like that, I'm sure we can probably do that. So, but without further ado, it is a long episode, everyone. It's the finale of this series. Everyone has your legally purchased Blu-rays and everything else for Series 12, all at the ready. Then here we go. The Timeless Children in 3, 2, 1, play. And it's a recap, which is handy.
Yeah, pretty useful.
To immediately get off topic, Christopher Eccleston and I have the same birthday.
Do you really?
Oh, nice.
Yes, we do. And when everyone sang happy birthday to him at the last Gallifrey 1 conference, I assumed it was for me as well.
You're like, go on.
Yes.
And because I'm me and I remember things, it's your birthday's February 16th, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And it's the same birthday as LeVar Burton, Geordie LaForge.
Oh, whoa.
Yep.
I am excessively jealous.
In a famous Canadian, the Weekend, the musician, February 16th.
16th as well? Oh, my birthday's February 3rd, and like there's next to no one who was born on February 3rd.
Well, you're a fellow Aquarius, so you're part of the group.
I'm part of the group. Here's the thing: Richie Valens, a Big Bopper, and the third person in that plane died on February 3rd, 1957.
Buddy Holly?
So the music, the Buddy Holly, the music died on my birthday several years before I was born. So I have that at least.
Oh,
you have
I have Don Johnson.
You have the same birthday as Tiger Williams.
I know. Yeah, that's the only one. And former Major League Baseball MVP Fred Lynn as well.
And Warwick Davis.
Yes, that's right. Warwick Davis. That's right. Warwick Davis. So there we go.
And many, many others.
That's the guy from what's the name of that movie?
Willow.
Yes, Willow. Yes.
Yep.
I forgot.
Or any of the Star Wars films he was in, of course.
Yeah.
Which was most of them.
He played an Ewok, the main Ewok in the.
And he's in Phantom Menace as Guy walking past main actors.
Well, he was in the scene with Jabba in the booth during the pod race.
That too. Yes.
Oh wow. So he's got a lot of sci-fi credentials.
He does. He was even in Doctor Who.
Oh, which episode?
Nightmare in Silver with the Cybermen. Yeah.
Wow. I really do love the new Cybermen outfits, though.
I adore them. The earmuffs on the helmets, they just they look proper again.
And one thing I was thinking about when I was watching it most recently was the music is fabulous this season, and it's kind of like heavy metal music to go with the metallic Cybermen, which I thought was
there's like a clanking metal kind of thing. Which we can't hear. This is the problem with doing audio.
He's fabulous, though. The guy who's playing the cyber leader, he's just terrifying and maniacal.
I know. Patrick O'Kane is the very Irish name of the Irish actor who plays him, and he's terrifying, isn't he?
Yeah, he does a really good job, and I love the half face exposure. You can really see him enjoying himself and all the terrible things that he does. Oh, and I love the new Master, by the way.
I was going to say, speaking of enjoying yourself and then all the terrible things you do, Sacha Dhawan is the Master.
He's fantastic. I mean, for one thing, of course, I actually think it's really cool because he's Indian and I'm half Indian. So, from a representation perspective, I think it's great. And he's one of those people who is very evil, but also very likable.
It's a fine line, isn't it? It's a very fine line.
It is.
Because
like with Missy, you always thought she'd pull your heart out for something to do.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite seem like that.
Yeah, I find him very appealing. So,
you're not alone. I will tell you that the first two episodes of this commentary series with our friends Rachel and Kim, they are very much fans of the aesthetic of Sacha Dhawan. So
fans is in italics, bolded.
Yes, as in fanatic. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
But I think it was a great casting job. So, and I feel like the Master. I'm obviously an old school Who fan as well, and certainly the Master has changed quite a bit from being just like a cold evil person to being a very dynamic evil person.
Yeah, the Delgado years are very. I was
going to say less beardy, but he's quite beardy. So never mind.
That's true. Goes all over the place, in that sense. And I really did like the post-apocalyptic feel of this episode. I think they captured it really well.
I know. Steam. There's always steam in post-apocalyptic And there's steam
lots of
floating in the
grime,
background.
always
And
grime.
lots of grime.
Maybe,
and,
maybe you can explain this to me, Anita, as someone involved in aerospace. Why does every future spaceship look like a warehouse and have chains and steam? What is the deal? Why, other than the fact that it's ripping off Alien, why are all these ships like this?
Well, I mean, they probably
there any
shouldn't
scientific
because you would only want to have metal where you need it because it's quite heavy. So you would expect to see a lot of cabling floating around, or at least maybe exposed, just because you wouldn't necessarily have to have it completely away. But I think it's more the element of sort of the rawness of space that they're trying to portray, like from an artistic perspective. But you do need a lot of metal to be present as radiation shielding. So that could be one argument for it.
Right, yeah.
But I think you would need more than just a metal structure for the radiation shielding for where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, I'm in a tin can. That should be fine.
One of my favorite movies, it's a horror sci-fi movie, is Event Horizon, where Sam Neill goes, we won't need eyes where we're going. And the Cybermen doesn't have any eyes.
That's true.
I do follow Sam Neill on Twitter. He's got quite the Twitter feed.
He's great. His goat updates are awesome.
Yeah,
he's a
and
legend.
Charlie the Duck. I hope Charlie's still alive, but I worry
Who knows
sometimes.
in 2020? Who knows?
And this, he must be a very famous actor because he looked fairly familiar to me. I just didn't know the name of the actor who plays the.
I know him best from Ian McElhaney is his name. He was in Game of Thrones through most of the run, playing Barristan Selmy in Game of Thrones.
Oh,
If the name rings any bells for you, I didn't.
All the names are long since out of my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Game of Thrones, but I just couldn't place the face. But that must be what it's from then.
Yeah, he was sort of. I think he was kind of like Khaleesi's right hand man a little bit before Ian.
Oh, okay. Then that was really early on. Then
it was early, and then he came back towards the very end. He sort of like came. Oh, look at me! Yep, I'm back. And I don't remember what happened, but I enjoyed the show, and I'm one of the rare people who actually stuck with it till the end.
I both enjoyed it and stuck with it at the end. Although I think it really takes a nosedive in those last 3 episodes. But
yeah, I really liked it. I was sad, I guess, the way it ended, but for her at least, because I really liked her. But it was a great show. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I loved the homage to Gallifrey because I'm a huge old school Who fan, so I think they were trying to maybe bringing in people from the Tom Baker era with the panopticon and all of the updated sets to represent what they had in the 1970s.
Yeah, assassinated presidents, like, we get it, deadly assassin. I know.
That was a good episode.
It was a very good episode. Well, so when did you get it into being a Doctor Who fan then, Anita?
I watched the reruns on Channel 21 in New York, which is a public television station. So there was like the mainstream PBS and there was the secondary PBS. So it was on the secondary PBS. And so I think my first episode, I think, was is Ark in Space, right?
Oh, sweet.
The one where they're in suspended animation. Was it Ark in Space?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
So I really it had a huge impact on me seeing Sarah Jane Smith in suspended animation. I couldn't get it out of my head.
It's a terrifying. Some people actually say that like that is a direct influence on Alien because Ridley Scott is British and maybe he saw that 3 or 4 years before he made Alien because there's a definite like parallel. The budget obviously is exactly the same.
Oh yeah, with what was it? The bubble wrap on the guy's arm. Oh my gosh, that's the best prop ever.
A little better executed than Alien.
Tiny bit. Tiny bit.
Well, that was a great episode, though. But I love Tom Baker. He was my favorite Doctor Who. Still is my favorite Doctor Who. So,
but does Alien have Tom Baker saying humans are indomitable?
No.
Name one speech from Alien, other than John Hurt going.
Exactly.
At dinner time.
Exactly. Obvious. It's funny though. We mentioned like spaceship aesthetics. How much changed from 1975, Ark in Space, all gleaming in white. Like that was sort of the accepted way of building a spaceship. And then you get to Star Wars, which kind of like dirtied it up a bit. And then you're right, Alien is like a factory, a floating factory.
To the point where you get to the Fifth Element, which is I think 97 or around there.
95.
And it's like based on Mobius's drawings and French cartoons or French like bande dessinée, and so it looks revolutionary because it's not that look. It's this all super cheerful, future space thing, which just nobody really does other than Luc Besson for good or ill.
Yeah.
Sure. Didn't he also do the City of 1,000 Planets, Valerian?
Yeah, which I heard looks amazing, but isn't great.
Well, I mean, it's a terrible movie, but I really liked it.
See, that reaction is exactly what I thought it would be when I saw the trailer, thinking, "Oh yeah, this is going to be just terrible," but I feel like I would have a blast watching it. I haven't done it yet, though.
That's like everything the Wachowskis did past Matrix. You're like, oh, okay. It looks amazing.
Jupiter
but it looks
Ascending.
also quite stupid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, Jupiter Ascending was just terrible.
Okay, good to know.
That was a movie, all right. That is the thing that I saw. Paid money in the theater and everything to see that.
Same here. I was a little bit shocked by that one. I mean, the sets were really cool, but it was just the story was just so silly. I thought
it was ridiculous.
Even by the third Matrix movie, I'm like, oh, so you got Goth Club and Kung Fu again. All right. What else we got? That's it.
Don't forget the giant orgy.
That was the second one, not the third one.
It wasn't the second one, yeah.
It was
Zion,
more of a rave,
right?
really.
Yeah. I do remember that
The
scene.
second one I actually liked.
Yeah, I think it just went on for too long, but they were trying to, squeeze as much money as they possibly could out of it. But I think it is interesting, though, that probably people think of the Matrix, and they don't think of the Matrix from Doctor Who, which I assume is the first place.
I do. Come on, you're talking the Matrix. It's obviously you're talking Spandrel and Tom Baker running around and getting shot at and drowning people and everything. That's the Matrix.
Yeah. And we're going to see the Matrix here, and it's going to be just a big cyclo. What's the name? The big white room? I can't remember. Cyclo something.
Cyclorama.
But I'm like, hashtag not my Matrix. My Matrix has a crazy train driver.
That's true.
That's really funny, actually. But it could be, though, that there are a lot of the, new school Doctor Who fans wouldn't know about it. So this might have been their first introduction to the Doctor Who version.
That's true. I mean,
of course,
the Matrix has never been the same twice. Like it was in an Arc of Infinity. It was a bunch of like crazy neon lines. It was Victorian era like Factory and Trial of a Time Lord. So like it's never been the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if this scene Americans understand it because it's talking about, I guess, the difference between Cockneys and people from Yorkshire. So that might be lost on.
I think there's an equivalent anywhere. Like in Alberta, it's Edmonton and Calgary. I'm sure there's a California version of it. There's New York versus New Jersey. Like everybody's got a universal rival town.
That's true. That's true. Although I'm from the UK originally, I grew up in New York. But I'm not as unpleasant as the traditional New Yorker. Just kidding.
I've been to New York a bunch of times, and it's a complete myth. Like, honestly. I've been to much more unpleasant places in Canada. Vancouver, for one. So,
it kind of depends. There is definitely, there's a certain rudeness factor that you wouldn't necessarily get in the Midwest that you do get in New York, though.
Oh, yeah. But this also, they're telling you what they think, as opposed to the Midwest, where they'll dance around everything. I'm like, just get to the point, would you please?
That's true. But Canadians all seem so polite to me.
We're very passive aggressive.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I've always reasoned all the Americans always say, "Oh, you Canadians are always so polite," and thinking maybe we're not so polite. It's just you're really rude. Maybe you should think about that, Americans.
It could be some of this and some of that.
Yeah,
time and relative dimensions and rudeness.
Exactly. A tardier.
Tardier.
Or better said tardu. Just kind of trail off.
I do like though what they're trying to do with Yaz's character because she's just super resilient, super strong, and fearless, and then she keeps on going. And I think she's kind of holding together the group because of that.
Yeah, she had such a good season. I thought she was kind of I think they all kind of were passengers a little bit, especially Yaz because it was very much a Ryan and Graham story last year. But this year, I think Yaz has really come into her own a lot more. Especially the Can You Hear Me episode, and this one, she just seems to sort of take on the leadership role.
Definitely, which is nice, and I think in a way maybe she's going to supplement for some of the conflicts that the Doctor will go through internally because of all the new information that she learned this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially.
Perhaps also as the solo companion in the next series of Doctor Who.
Oh, are they definitely leaving Graham and
that is unknown
Ryan?
at press time, we shall say. That is unknown. When this comes out in early December, we'll find out if anything has actually been announced regarding that. But it very much feels like perhaps Ryan is certainly gone because Tosin Cole is doing conventions now. And they usually don't let people do conventions when you're acting on the show itself. And Bradley Walsh might be off as well. But it seems to be leaning towards a Yaz and 13 thing, which will intrigue a certain sector of the Doctor Who fandom, I think,
Especially if the other rumor holds true and John Barrowman comes back as a companion.
That's another rumor too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you telling me the Doctor Who fandom is a little testy? Because I don't know. If
Oh, not testy. No. The opposite of testy, Warren. The opposite. I'm talking about the Thasman group, the ones that.
Oh, okay.
Which I think they lean into quite a bit towards the end of this episode.
Yeah, they do.
Yaz seems very broken up about the Doctor leaving.
So do you feel as though there were any hints to this storyline of the Timeless Child in the old school series?
Not as such, no.
No.
Other than the Brain of Morbius stuff that they're, taking over for their own benefit.
Yeah.
Not really. But who cares? It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to think about that too, but I don't think so. Because they didn't really talk much about the origin of the Doctor in the old school series.
They don't.
And at the end of the day, it's the Master telling her all this stuff. And as she said a moment ago, I don't believe anything that comes out of your mouth. So, I mean, who knows how much of this is actually, real.
Yeah.
Oh, but I guess he was saying though, because it's in the Matrix, it's not me, it's the Matrix. But you were saying he might just be manipulating the Matrix.
He's manipulated the Matrix before, so
Yes,
you never know.
Okay, interesting.
Trial of the Time Lord, he monkeyed around with a lot of stuff in the Matrix. So.
Well, and I think in Arc Infinite... No, wait a minute. That was Omega. Never mind.
Yeah.
That was Omega, yeah.
Pardon me.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, the fact...
The Matrix is pretty malleable, I guess.
It seems very personal, though, with the Master doing this. It does feel like he's... Like, this is legit. But if he isn't, it's a very easy rewrite. You know what I mean?
I don't think it would...
But also, why murder everyone in Gallifrey again
Yeah.
if he's not genuinely cheesed off about it?
I don't think they'd be telling much of a story if you knew going into it was all bollocks.
That's true.
Yeah.
It has to be believable. Whether it ends up being true or not is another story.
And they never really, I mean, the only thing I remember from the old school series is them talking about how like our genetic code gets rewritten. And that was kind of the extent of the regeneration.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite basic versus something like this.
Okay.
Such a creepy scene.
Yeah, this
Just
was kind of scary.
The shots through the eye gauze there, like that's just like
The mesh,
Yaz, like, crying the mesh, yeah.
Yeah, so Cybermen, I mean, are also, pre-Borg. So they're like I think the Borg
totally,
took full advantage of the Cybermen's existence.
You're saying copy. You can say copy. You are in a safe space here. You can jettison that Star Trek fandom that you hold on to.
I do love Star Trek, but yeah, definitely and the AI aspect, and it's so funny too because I didn't really think about it when I was a kid in the context of AI, but now that's more of something that we talk about from a technology development perspective, and they really kind of harnessed that in this episode. Breathe slowly.
I always laugh when I see tech pundits go on about the dangers of AI because I'm like, my phone can't even find out where I live without crapping out. Come on.
It's true, but you have to admit, though, there's a lot of things that you get shown that could only have come from a conversation that you had somewhere, which means that your phone is listening to you.
There's that, or stuff I just thought. I've had things I've thought, and I'm like, hold on a second, what is this?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Or when you buy shoes and every ad is for shoes and you're like, no, I don't. I just bought shoes. Clearly, I don't need more.
That's interesting. They just must get that from the pictures of you that you like shoes.
I just picked those because that's the last thing I bought.
Shobogans. I wonder how they came up with that name.
Well, it's from, they mentioned the Deadly Assassin, and then we presume to see them in the Invasion of Time. So once again, we are being pandered to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, totally. Yeah, when I heard this, I was like, yes, Shobogans.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That I didn't realize.
Yeah.
In this description, Gallifrey is basically Tatooine.
Yeah.
I suppose so.
Well, because they in the episode where Leela leaves and she interacts with all of the desert dwellers out in the wilderness of Gallifrey. Are they Time Lords or not? That was part I never missed.
They're not called the Shobogans as such, but we're led to believe that's who they are.
Yeah, I feel like Time Lord is like, not everyone can regenerate is what I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. Is that,
Which seems like a real ripoff.
It does, I know. It's like a class system. Like, oh, you're a Time Lord.
Yeah, you're the oldest, wisest race in the universe, and yet you're basically the United States.
Yeah.
Or fill in the Western power. Yeah. It doesn't have to be just the West.
Well, the Shobogans are ones that sort of like are so we are told are the ones that sort of like leave Gallifrey society to live a simpler life in the wild. I feel like that might have just been, the colonial aspect of Gallifrey teaching us their new history. And perhaps they were the indigenous population and they just got shunted to the wilds while they set up shop there.
And we could also look at this through the lens of the Brits.
Yes.
The Time Lords are like, the House of Lords.
I was going to say the new British Empire.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So they sit around and don't do much, except judge people, and that sounds like the House of Lords to me.
Oh. This is interesting. And I watched episode 9 after rewatching this, so it was actually kind of fun to see it backwards of the symbology from the prior episode.
Oh, yeah.
That was interesting.
I also love that there's a throwaway line in the Sensorites in 1964 where Susan says, "Oh, I miss my my home. It's with its silver trees and orange sky," and that orange sky has carried through. Like the reason the sky is orange because of a throwaway line in a forgettable episode from 1964.
And Tenet references it in Gridlock.
In Gridlock, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, maybe they were all from Southern California where we have fires all the time.
That's gotta be it.
Maybe we're in Gallifrey right now.
Yeah, they shot this in LA in 2020. No visual effects at all required.
No, that's really sad. I know, especially with all the dust particles flying around towards the end.
Yeah,
very sad. I shouldn't make light of it, but
don't make light of forest
bad.
fires. Don't make light in forest fires because that's how they start.
And so now,
or gender reveal parties. Yeah. I want a gender appeal party.
Oh, geez, don't even get me started. That's so terrible. I don't know how that happened.
I don't personally want it. I'm just saying I want that to be a thing.
Yeah.
I know. That's kind of sad. Oh, and this is the big cyber ship coming down on
impressive.
The ruins.
Yeah, just crowd right in there.
The Citadel.
Bunch up. Yeah.
Landing pad.
Come on, quit rubbing salt in the wound there, Chibnall.
Now, did they talk about the origin story of the cyber leader earlier on? Because that may be something I missed of this particular one.
He talks about it.
Just in this
last
episode. Yeah. This episode. Okay.
The episode, 2 episodes previous. The one that aired on Gallifrey one weekend that we, most of us watched in the auditorium there, which is a lot of fun.
Nice.
One of the few chances I've had to watch a Doctor Who episode live and with a bunch of people.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. In the before times. When we gathered in places.
Those are a myth.
That's true.
Like Tectua herself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Kosharmus. And then, he was an interesting character, or is an interesting character.
Because everyone thought he was a planet. And then everyone sort of thought like he would, maybe some people thought that he was going to be like bigger than he was. Like maybe he's, I don't know, Barusa or something like that.
Well,
but he's just some
the whole setup though reminds me of like the episodes with the War Doctor. I know it's not the same war, but it has the same feeling.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or then when Rose is there
at the end of time. Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe there's some, analogy to that or overlap. I'm not sure.
Well, listen, I mean, we at the end of this episode, we determined that there's probably 1 billion doctors before William Hartnell shows up on the scene. So maybe he is an earlier version of the Doctor and just doesn't realize it.
Yeah,
it's true.
Although they pretty much in Day of the Doctor pretty much slot him right in between.
Here's your spot. Yeah. Move over, McGann. Over to the side, Eccleston.
Does regenerate right into him.
Yes.
So, or an early Claudius version of him. So
yeah.
Yeah, so maybe the one part that I think didn't hold together for me was why he wanted to team with the Cybermen. Because he's kind of such a solo act, typically.
He is.
It just seemed a little too Doctor Who comic as opposed to Doctor Who the show.
I suppose.
Kind of like a Marvel gimmick.
It is a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, like I've got they created this new cyber race.
I mean, I don't mind it, but it did seem a little too comic booky to me.
Yeah, because what's his end goal? Because he just wants to have power, right, as an individual. Well, I guess he got the Cyberium inside of him, so maybe there's an element to that. So he's the new Borg queen.
Yeah. Well, it kind of,
I suppose so, yeah.
It gets really, I mean, when he sort of goes on, he sort of says the destruction of the universe. And you think, okay, well, Davros has said that, and the Masters probably said that too. But then, like, towards the end of the episodes, we jump ahead. Like, he's basically willing the Doctor to, like, kill him. And it gets really kind of dark. It's almost like the Master's just sort of interested in not being alive anymore. And he kind of has been doing this to get the Doctor to kill him. And that's like, this is breaking some new ground here.
That is interesting.
Like Sim and Missy weren't weren't anything like that.
Yeah. It's a new dimension on this character.
And the death particle. But I did like him pointing out the logical fallacy in their goal. So that was kind of fun.
It's good to poke holes in the plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
This cyber leader is really a mess, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's just all over the place.
I just love how he interacts with him. He's just so great.
Yeah, he's just terrifying, though. If I was a little kid and I saw the cyber leader, I mean, I would just, I don't know. I'd be having nightmares.
Well, in that, and when we first see him in that Diodati episode, the Mary Shelley one, it's just like, ooh, like that. It's mostly this. Every shot of him is just this.
And why did it take him so long, like the show, to do this? Like it's kind of surprising.
It is.
I mean, the closest we ever got was Attack of the Cybermen with the guys running away from the Cybermen with cybernized arms.
Yeah, but not like
which
partly converted.
Isn't quite as effective.
Like he's got the rage. That's basically all he has left is rage. It's the last thing they take out of him.
So he's got to have an interesting story as well.
Oh yeah.
Now they did go into the story between the Doctor and the Master a couple of seasons ago, right? About them being little kids and playing. It's just been a while.
I don't know if they've ever been that explicit about it, or am I misremembering it?
They were childhood friends in the Tennant era.
I think Sound of Drums is the one that kind of goes most in depth.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the actor, but
John Sim.
John Sim.
Yeah. John Sim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's probably most similar to this Master, just in terms of like the chaos.
Yeah.
The visible chaos.
Especially toward the end of his run. More so than the Capaldi appearance.
Wow. And this is definitely the year of the Cybermen versus like other ones, which were, well, I guess they've had several years of the Cybermen, but I guess they always go between, I don't know, I guess the Daleks was more for different Doctors.
Yeah, I feel like that maybe they can't get away with having the Daleks as frequent because they're so dominant that to have like Daleks in like several episodes in 1 year almost feels like, well, and they didn't really win at the end. So how powerful are they really? Whereas the Cybermen always feel like they're failing. They never succeed. They always try. But God bless them.
Do you? I assume this was the case, but then again, sometimes I jump to conclusions. But the sort of the gateway that Tectuine sees is the same one that's there now, or it's different.
I think it's the same one, but where is that gateway? Is that at? Is that on Gallifrey? Is it on a separate planet? I mean, forgive us, dear listeners, if they actually explained this earlier in the episode. We were talking about Martian spaceships at the time, possibly, but I think it might have been on a different planet. Maybe it was Sarin. I don't know. The one they went to in Brain of Morbius, but I'm sure it makes sense.
But even like, because when they're talking about her origin story, though, they're like, she found the gateway, or I get confused, and then they talk about the boundary, which I thought was Kosharmus, but then again, maybe I'm using the wrong terms.
Oh yeah, well, when you're talking over these things, we found it's tough to keep up to track what's going on.
And this is where she abuses her child again and again and again. Apparently, it's very disturbing.
Yeah, it's a bit much.
Because presumably the child would have had a normal lifetime. So if the child, went through several regenerations.
What does this needlepoint thing she's got in her hand?
I know she's like doing.
She keeps poking into.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is weird. It kind of looks like a turkey baster.
Yeah. Let's not go no further with this.
Not a hyper spray, that's for sure. Ouch.
I'm in two minds about this. Like at the time, I was kind of accepting it, but it's more tell than show, and I feel like maybe it would have been more impactful if perhaps the Doctor would have discovered it on her own rather than have the Master just up and tell her about it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's an opinion shared, but
it's also an expediency thing. Like it takes less time for him to say this is what happened versus her discovering it.
But it's just basically him telling her a story for a good chunk of this episode, which I suppose in keeping with is the Master lying. All we have is the Master's words and possible manipulation of the Matrix to go by.
It's true. I don't know. I just assumed it was the truth, but maybe that means I'm really gullible. I I'm like the doctor in the sense. She seems to think it's the truth too.
Well, we're all looking for out clauses in case we just can't find a way to wrap our heads around all these infinite regenerations.
So here's my question: if this was the original Time Lords, why do they have such terrible costumes in the Three Doctors and somewhat better ones, but still nothing like this in War Games?
Fashions change, Warren. Fashions change.
Right,
fine. Listen, I'm a hockey.
Go back to the
I'm a hockey fan. Sports teams like, oh, let's update our look again, and they like wear this crazy like neon teal stuff in the mid '90s. They go, you know what? Let's go back to our original look now. And so I could totally see.
And in the end, the Cybermen are wearing doilies.
Yes. Now look at Sacha
True.
Dhawan there. See how he's sort of grabbing his lapels. He does the same thing in Spyfall Part 2. And it's a very William Hartnell thing to do. Oh. And I think it's Sacha Dhawan's or whoever was writing it or directing it, his subtle way of saying that, you are basically mimicking the very first Doctor when you're doing this, which means the Doctor is actually a part of you, which is what he's so upset about. I think it's such a great, subtle visual clue that the Doctor is actually part of the Master. I think it's so great. I wonder whose idea that was, because it's far too blatant, I suppose, for a subtle cue to be like just a random thing for Sacha Dhawan to do.
Or what if the Master is actually her mother? Doctor.
What if the Master is Susan?
Yeah.
Which technically,
It's very confusing.
Now, Warren, you've opened up a can of worms, because remember
I really have. I should close that can
Fugitive
of
of the Jejune, it's Lee who is supposedly looking after Ruth, but maybe Susan was actually looking after the Doctor, because Susan is the Doctor's mother. There we are.
I'm confused.
Wow.
Also, you can tell it's serious because his jacket's off.
Yeah, definitely.
That's tough. Yeah, it's hard to know. But I at first, as a old school Who fan, it was a bit much to like dive right in to create this creation story. But now, after it's settled in for many months, I'm good with it and okay with it.
Yeah,
I mean, endless years, really.
That's true.
Yes,
I need
that's true.
something to believe in.
Yeah, superseded any other creation myth.
Exactly.
I do kind of like that it really shakes up our established. It's frustrating in some ways, thinking because William Hart's the very first. He was a small boy and then became Doctor Who, and that's how it began, and that's how it's going to end. But I kind of like, the Doctor is supposed to be sort of like unknowable and mysterious, and as we peel back the layers and find out more about them, I do kind of like them just throwing a curveball once in a while and going, oh, guess what? Everything you thought you knew is wrong.
It goes more against what was shown in Capaldi's time than Hartnell's.
Mm-hmm. And look at what they did at the time of the Doctor, and look how we all, and by we all, I mean I, got wound up about how they're going to do this. He has 13 regenerations. Yeah. Oh, okay, they completely screwed around with it. Fine. So if I could deal with that, I can deal with this.
But the other thing, too, is her personality, or all of their personalities have been such that they never focus on the past. They never really care about the past. They just keep on going ahead. So maybe if she was never really anchored to any memories, then maybe that's why.
Well, and every time they meet one of their past selves, they're always derisive toward them as well.
Yeah,
that's true.
And this show has always been actively hostile towards continuity in the first place. So.
But what I think it is where it works is that basically the Hartnell Doctor is where he says no more. Essentially, he stops the endless regenerations and working for the division, and says no, I'm going to go out on my own. So it's not the William Hartnell Doctor saying I'm bored of Gallifrey, I'm going to go look around at things. It's him basically taking an active stand and not being part of this anymore.
And presumably wiping his memory while he's doing it. If he's a he before he becomes Hartnell, it could be a she too.
Interesting. Yeah, because they don't really. I mean, the extent of the division is what they talk about towards the end of this episode, right?
I love that wave.
Yeah,
I love that wave.
Cybermen waving. Yeah, I haven't thought as much about the history of the Doctor or stuff like fictional history in quite some time until this episode came along. So,
well, the most important thing to remember is it's all made up anyway. So who cares?
Whoa!
I feel like it's not inconsistent though. So that's why it didn't make me like. For example, I mean, I'm a big Trekkie, and I feel as though the new Star Trek is just messing with the timeline quite a bit, and that upsets me. But I'm not upset by this. So if that's any metric to use.
No, it is. It is because they're not shooing like this isn't taking place sometime between the Web Planet and the Crusade or something like that. In like 1962. Yeah, it's a whole different timeline.
Continuity in Star Trek has always been, pardon the pun, much more paramount.
Than
it ever has been for
a little
years.
ridiculous, frankly.
Yeah.
To the point where they had to create a whole new universe to make younger
Yeah,
actors.
they've been very much slave to it. Was
a smart way to do it.
Yet somehow everybody loves things like retrofitting the DS9 cast into the Trouble of Tribbles.
Yeah,
despite it going so far from canon.
It's a one-off. It's fun. We don't see them as opposed to putting
that's a Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
I just don't like what they did with the Klingons in Discovery.
Thank you.
It really upset me.
Oh, I love what they did with the Klingons.
They should have. They have hair now, so that's good.
I mean,
just even down to the fonts. The fonts are too big and they're too fancy. It just
to go back to the DS9 crew entering into Trouble with Tribbles. I mean, the whole very brief thing in the canteen where they look at Worf and they look at the other Klingons. They're like, "What happened?" And Worf just says, "We don't talk about it." That's just a cop-out.
That is brilliant.
Well,
so don't explain it to me.
They did explain it in season 4 of Enterprise, for what it's worth.
No, but that's the great thing. We don't talk about it. That's brilliant.
Well, they could have had plastic surgery.
Exactly. Speaking of plastic, the little midget, the Cyberman's gone. The Cyber, Ashad, is just like vaporized. I kind of like how shockingly quick it happens. It's
2 episodes of Tyranny and boom.
Boom! He's a miniature. Yeah, he's a Doctor Who figurine.
Action figure.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Because, once the Master's on board, I mean, you are second-class villainry now, so there's no point to you.
So do you think that because the God particle has shrunk, though, that it will be less impactful?
It's more of a demigod.
Yeah.
It'll be like a Pez dispenser.
More or less, yeah.
What do you think, particle effect?
It's something that perhaps is a little more malleable for the Master to take on, I suppose. It won't overwhelm him.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. It's a good point.
I like how this is now a job interview. That's pretty
I know, yeah. It's like a merger meeting here.
That's interesting, too. Cyber knowledge. No, the Cyberium, though. Did they ever talk about Cyberium in old school?
No.
Never did.
No, that was news of the series.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's fun though.
It's like everything else, like the Time Lord history or what they've done, with like even Genesis, the Daleks back in the day, like taking this really long standing thing and you're just injecting new life into the mythos, and that's good.
But in Earthshock, the Cybermen are the cyber leader there actually does kind of remind me of this new guy because he just enjoys like like I'm going to destroy you before you ever existed.
Excellent. 80 Cybermen are the best Cybermen.
My army awakes, Doctor. Yeah, that is so funny. Just because, listen, I was at the dentist today, and I left the thing, and I was walking down the stairs, and my phone in my pocket hit the banister on the metal staircase, and it made the exact same sound as a bit of incidental music from Earthshock. And I literally have not been able to think of anything but Earthshock all day. And the fact that you mentioned it right now, just like this is it.
Now I'm trying to figure out what this music
it's
was.
AI. This is the AI bit that we were talking about before.
Have you like dropped a line to Malcolm Clark to say, "Hey"?
I'll stop you right there because he passed away several years ago. Was Malcolm Clark? Yeah.
Well, then seance.
Seance. No.
I wish it wasn't true, but it is. It's interesting.
The little thing that there's a little plinth or something in this field, and there's apparently several of them around England or something. I don't know the history of them.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, but it is exactly the same thing that when they did the teaser video leading up to the announcement of Jodie Whittaker, they had the TARDIS key in the basin of one of those things. And so the fact that it appears here is perhaps, I don't know if that was like a coincidence or like, oh, remember when we did that teaser video when we were going to announce Jodie Whittaker and we put the key in that thing? What if we had the Master and the Doctor talk about their own history next to one of those things to tie it in? I don't know if that's the case or not, but
we can believe
Yeah, I like seeing Jodie getting angry there. I like getting violently, physically angry, because that is something you do not see very often with the Doctor at all. Certainly not Jodie's Doctor.
Mm.
It's true.
Like when she hits people, because, she's a woman, and so she wouldn't be allowed to hit people or get angry or anything like that. And I feel that that's why it's so important for a woman to be the Doctor, because those aspects are all part of her character. Apart from, and as well as the silliness, which is another thing you don't get to see female lead characters get to do very often.
It's true. And they didn't introduce who this character was, right? The head of the division.
No, she looks familiar though.
She does. Yeah.
Who is that person?
Yeah, she really does.
What is her name?
Like, I think she's been on Black Mirror or something. That's just a guess.
I don't even know what her name is. How are we supposed to know?
But I like how there was the analogy to the Prime Directive here as well. But we're not going to follow it. But we are following it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Didn't they copy that in Discovery where they have like their section 43 or something?
31, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think that comes from DS9. I didn't watch season 2 of Discovery,
does, yeah.
but yeah.
Okay.
But that basically, there's a Celestial Intervention Agency, which they mentioned in The Deadly Assassin. So, like, everything comes back to Robert Holmes in 1976, let's face it.
Redacted.
Including Star Trek.
Including Star Trek, exactly. At least it does in my mind. Copycats.
So, yeah, this is where... wait, but he said that he fed her the information of the Irish scenes?
Yes.
Not that she was just recovering it on her own.
No, it was directly beamed into her mind, basically.
Okay.
Via WhatsApp or something.
And looking at the actress who played her, the character was called Solpato, played by Kirsty Besterman.
Yeah, I just stumbled on it now too.
Who, she's not done anything I think you likely would have seen, Steve.
No. Oh, it's frustrating. I hate that. I hate it when she looks like... You know who she... No, I don't know who she reminded me of. I can't place it.
I really liked the Irish scenes from the last episode, though, or that whole sequence. I thought that was fabulous.
I know, because what I loved about it is, like, usually in Doctor Who, they have, like, a graphic, Ireland 1943, or something like that, or, and the fact that we didn't get one, it was just like, what is this? I have no idea what this is, and I find it very intriguing. And then, like, it never even, until this scene late in the episode, the last episode, we sort of realize that maybe something is quite wrong. But up until then, it's like, oh, this is quite quaint.
Mm.
And these two didn't age in it, so I don't know what that was supposed to mean. Because even if they were Time Lords, they should have.
It just means they were figments the whole time. Or
Yeah.
something along that line is what I chalked it up to.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting from a storytelling standpoint that it's more than halfway through this episode before anything from this stuff gets touched upon.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. How many lives have you had?
12.
But it's just not logical to think that the people in power would be like, you know what, I'm going to limit my power.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's very
It made
true.
no sense.
Why bother?
Term limits. Term limits were in very early in the Gallifreyan Constitution, apparently.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It didn't take an FDR moment to finally put a pin in that.
They're
balloon.
basically just like the people at the start of the Superman, the movie, the one true Superman film from 1978, who are just like, yeah, whatever, Jor-El. We have glowing robes and,
Yeah.
make decrees. We know what we're doing.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's been a
That
long
scene
time.
features.
Oops, maybe not.
That scene features William Russell, Ian Chesterton.
That's true.
Yeah.
It does.
And nothing else. Sure, Marlon Brando's in there. Whatever. Ian Chesterton's in that scene.
But the Master now has unlimited regenerations, or did he just consume the regenerations from... I forgot about that.
It is vague, isn't it? Because he was supposed to be on his last regeneration cycle when?
Delgado.
It was Delgado, right?
Yeah. And then he was the husk because he was past his regeneration cycle, so he took over the body of Tremas.
Right.
And then the Time Lords offered him a new cycle of regenerations in the Five Doctors, but there's nothing to say that that was ever granted.
No.
Okay.
They didn't sign an agreement. No documents were signed from what you can tell. It's So the the costume is a bit ridiculous, but
especially the spikes.
The spikes are one thing. It's the cyber warrior aspect. I'm talking about the motif. But then I remember Eric Roberts' master in the Doctor Who TV movie, and I always dress for the occasion. And I feel like there's that slightly flamboyant aspect of the master's personality that, yes, of course, he would completely redesign the outfits to make him look like that.
But because they're Time Lords, technically none of them are actually really dead Time Lords. They should be able to take him out of those cyber suits and disconnect them from the neural network controlling thing, right?
But then they would lose their cyberness. Maybe he wants the cyberness to them as well.
But maybe they can come back because of that, because they could just disconnect them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know.
Maybe they're the hybrid.
I only remember is the very violent episode from David Tennant era with the Cyber Queen, the lady in the red dress, and
next Doctor. Yeah.
That was frightening, actually.
Oh, with her eyes going black and then her head exploded and stuff. And it was
inexplicable, since nobody remembers a Cyber King smashing everything.
That's true. Yeah, they wrote that out, didn't they, basically? Yeah, nobody remembers that.
Just like it was a little easier for Missy to take over the Cybermen to give them to the Doctor as a gift than it was for this master to do it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, the Cybermen are usually chumps. Now they're well-decorated chumps.
Yeah.
But...
Except in Earthshock. I felt like he was more sophisticated, the cyber leader there.
True.
Thank you.
True.
Yeah, that was just that was an interesting. I love the old school episodes, and maybe some people hate this, but I love the old school episodes that try to attempt to explain massive events in the universe, whether that's the Big Bang,
totally.
with the Garm, or the dinosaurs going extinct.
Great Fire of London.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I was not expecting a Garm reference today, but we got it. We got.
Here we are.
You should wake up every morning expecting a Garm reference.
I know that big old dog from Terminus found his way into this podcast, and that makes me very happy.
You should demand it. Where is my Garm reference?
Yeah, that was.
Sir, this is an Arby's.
That was a great episode. I haven't seen it in years, though.
Oh yeah, that was with all the disease Lazarus and stuff. It's a very dark episode. I remember at the time.
Good eye makeup too on the characters.
It was 1983, yeah. And here too, Julie Graham has got some pretty fierce eyeliner going on there.
It's permanent makeup. You can get that in California.
It's like part of the cosmetic surgery.
Amongst many other modifications.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, when is the last time that non-Gallifreyans have actually been on Gallifrey? Like, it has not happened often.
Is it just the Leela episode?
No.
The Leela, like...
Arc of Infinity happened after.
Nissa.
Oh.
Right.
Five Doctors happened after.
Yeah, well, Five Doctors, I suppose the Death Zone, but were they ever in Gallifrey? They never really went to this.
Well, that's still Gallifrey.
Still Gallifrey.
That's like saying, well, I'm in Newfoundland. Am I in Canada?
Listen, well, Warren, you're talking to someone who's like, are you in Vancouver? Well, you're in Surrey, so you don't really count as being in Vancouver.
That's true. I am a bit of a snob. And we're also talking over a cool part of this episode.
Yeah.
Oh.
We all kind of knew that this was going to happen, right? She was going to pop up at some point.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Is she the original?
Who knows?
Where does she? Yeah, where do you fit into all this, Jodie Whittaker? That's.
I'm not sure. Oh, but when she says the second thing about and remember what he said, did they ever explain what that was? Like they mentioned like blowing your mind, and the thing before blow your mind, she mentions remember what he said or something like that. I don't know what that was referring to. It was driving me crazy. I watched it twice and I couldn't figure it out.
I bet you Chibnall doesn't either. I bet you he's had a whole lot of time to figure this out.
And an escape clause somewhere in there. Yeah, where does the Ruth Doctor fit in? Where, like pre-Hartnell, you have to think, because she doesn't.
I'm assuming it's pre-Hartnell.
Yeah, because Jodie's doesn't remember her.
Is it post-division or pre-division or during division?
I have to think it's post-division.
Post-division.
Right?
Well,
but she's also contemptuous of Jodie, so maybe she's opposed.
Well, if you're counting Hartnell as the Doctor that ran from the division, then she'd be like during the division,
right?
Yeah, because otherwise, if her memory was only wiped by the division, then she would still have her memories after the division, right?
Yeah, because neither remembers the other, regardless of where they fit into each other's timelines. So
yeah,
I don't know. That's confusing.
Well, this is so the big hot debate and the debate, I say hot debate in fandom for several weeks is that, there's the period between Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee because we don't really see Patrick Troughton regenerate into John Pertwee. Mm-hmm. And then we also see Patrick Troughton in like the 3 Doctors, the 5 Doctors, the 2 Doctors, and he's like progressively older, even though it's supposedly supposed to happen before at the same time as his normal time in Doctor Who. And so there's been whole things written about what they call season 6B, basically the interregnum between Troughton's last season and John Pertwee's first, where he does all these secret missions for the Time Lords and stuff. And everyone is sort of thinking, oh, well, obviously Patrick Troughton would regenerate into Ruth's Doctor, and then Ruth would regenerate into John Pertwee. And I think a whole chunk of fandom sort of like had themselves geared up for that being the explanation.
It still could happen. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, and then it wasn't. He wasted a lot of time on that theory.
I was kind of hoping.
Here's the thing.
I was kind of hoping they'd bring back
John.
They would bring John Pertwee's son, Sean Pertwee, to play him. That was so
totally,
cool.
Yes.
They nearly did. I don't know which story it was, but Sean Pertwee actually confirmed that they were going to do that for something, and that it didn't work out. And oh my god,
that would have been great.
Because
I mean, it still could happen too.
I mean, it's a this is quite a thing. There's a hell of a scene coming up here. So we'll just talk over it. Would you see Sean Pertwee on that Instagram post where he's like dressing up as his dad in
I've
the
seen
Third
that.
Doctor
It's awesome.
outfit? And it's like, oh, that's him. And I feel kind of bad though. Like I remember like in the 80s when I listened to like Julian Lennon and I'm thinking, boy, he's cursed with the almost a dead ringer for his dad,
Apparently it was supposed to be during Series 9.
Series 9. Yes, I did freeze frame every single element of that
Including the Brandon Morbius stuff, which is an obvious hat tip.
I think I did as well back in the day.
Yeah, there is so much in there.
I want the Ruth Doctor to come back in some form next season, because no matter what, wherever she fits in the whole thing, she's a great Doctor.
She is, and the costumes there, and the sets there for the cool TARDIS.
Yeah.
So
why not?
Oh, that's her TARDIS towards the end.
That's her. Well, that's also just sort of the default TARDIS, because there's a bunch of them just lying around the Panopticon here because it's like a used car lot, basically.
Is there anything in fandom that explains the reason for the discs, the circles?
The roundels?
Yeah.
No. That just ties back to the very first designer of Doctor Who thinking, what if we put circles there? Wouldn't that be cool?
Not only that, the Doctor doesn't know. What are the round things? No idea.
I do love him. I do love him.
That's kind of like we don't talk about the Klingon.
Yeah. What are the rounds?
Like, well, fans, you want an explanation? Too bad.
Yeah. The original intent was they were supposed to like light up and sort of like glow and like pulsate in flight. But being 1963 and, 250 pounds to spend on each episode, it became too expensive. So they just became round things, basically.
Got it. No, I like them. I think they're really mod.
Oh, yeah. Yes. They are a bit, aren't they? Imagine little targets on them and stuff.
An endless regenerating army. Interesting. Yeah. But I guess but she's like, don't stay here because they can convert you, but they obviously can convert Gallifreyans too.
Yeah. So they're not just after you anymore.
Maybe they won't even bother with humans because we're too low rent. We don't regenerate.
And there's like 7 left in the universe at this point too.
That too, yeah.
Bad return on investment.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Wow, things got pretty up in here.
Jeez. The capitalist side of the cyber plan comes through there.
Well, I mean, they're into evil. So.
That's true. What do you think of Jodie's Doctor, Anita?
I think she's great. Yeah, I think it was absolutely about time to have a woman doctor. I think she's a great actress. Like I saw her in Broadchurch and in the Black Mirror episodes. I think she was a great choice. I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's very fresh as well.
Yeah, I really like what they've done with her character in this season. I've said often I think they played a little bit safe the last year, but that they've really, they're like to the point of like inventing an entirely different timeline for the Doctor. They've been a lot bolder with both the show and the character, I think, in this series. I like it when Doctor Who swings for the fences.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Even when it doesn't succeed, which I think this does. But,
Yeah, I mean, because I wasn't, I felt like Capaldi was just going too much to the old school side, a little bit too cold for me. So I like the energy of her acting.
Yeah, there's a slight. I mean, not to say that I'm comparing Tennant and Whittaker, just if anything, because A, they were Rogers together, but B, it feels like they're in the comic together. They're like, if there's merchandise, like there's like some teddy bears that are both the 10th and 13th Doctor. They seem like sort of like a nice pair, because I think Whittaker's Doctor is kind of a return to that kind of happy-go-lucky Tennant Doctor, I think.
Yes, I agree, and I like that, and so that's why Tom Baker was always my favorite, because he was a little bit more crazy and fun-loving compared to his predecessors or his ones that came next.
What I like about her is she's not arrogant like Tennant was.
No, that's true. The arrogance hasn't kicked. Well, maybe it'll kick in. Maybe
not yet. Anyway, yeah.
Her third year will just be
because Tennant wasn't either for the first season or so.
No.
Do you think Tom Baker's Doctor was arrogant?
Charmingly arrogant.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely like him mansplaining was just so funny. But they also, I mean, the companions were rolling their eyes all the time, or repeating the things.
Yeah. And also, I'm totally biased when it comes to Tom Baker because he's my first Doctor, so I can't.
Yeah.
I can't give you anything but a totally biased analysis.
I want them to bring back Romana. To be honest with you, I love Romana.
That would be amazing.
I mean, what
Warriors Gate. I mean, I want them to go there to East Base. Why not? Maybe that's the gateway. You never know.
All the gateways are one. I think that's
such a good episode.
It is.
The world has been clamoring for a State of Decay sequel.
That's such a good one. Listen, I've been watching season 18 because it's the 40th anniversary of that season. It's the one that turned me into a super fan. And yes, I will happily beat the drum for Meglos. I wanted a sequel to all those.
I love both of them. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh.
Even though Meglos is not well liked.
Wait, but he also was the cactus person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was. Yes, that's right.
The nerdy businessman turned cactus.
Which baffled me as a teenager. Like, what is going on with this business?
I love Doctor Who. That's how you could do that. You can just pick up a business guy from 1979 on Earth, and he's a cactus.
Some random account.
What a great show! What a great show!
It was kind of weird because they went all over the place in that episode. It
did
with the dodecahedron
so awesome.
and oh my gosh, yeah. Thanks.
I am holding right now. So my wife is a big D&D fan, and she has like a bunch of dice and stuff, and I didn't have any. And she's, "I'll buy you a die, one single die." And I think, "Which kind do you want?" Well, obviously I want a 12-sided die because it's a dodecahedron. So I am holding said dodecahedron in my hand right now. It's always there.
Oh, that's cool. I guess you can 3D print them and sell them at a booth at Gallifrey One.
Yeah.
You have to put some kind of nuclear material in it so it's like good energy source.
Yeah. It's got to look It's got to look like
put a death particle inside.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this TARDIS.
Because we haven't had enough of that.
Oh, this is glorious. Like it's obviously a callback to the original, and that the console is the one from An Adventure in Space and Time.
Yeah, it's all the simple buttons and numbers and switches.
God, it's gorgeous though.
When I was picking my virtual Zoom background, I opted for the old school TARDIS versus the new school TARDIS because that's just who I am.
Absolutely,
I've got I think Tom Baker era TARDIS.
Yep.
Somebody looped a GIF of like a 4 or 5 seconds of something from Androids of Tar or something where it's just like you can just see the console go up and down, and so I have that looped as my Zoom background. So
that's fabulous.
We're nerds. God, we're nerds.
Yeah, I just love the old school stuff, and I watch it a lot too because it's on the Pluto TV, so you can watch it again and again and again and again.
We don't have that up here in Canada. We're primitive people.
Yeah. I don't know. It's some kind of free service, but
yeah, we have Pluto, but we don't have all the channels, including the Doctor Who.
Do you have
one.
Pluto? I had no idea.
There's not much on the Warren. Don't get your hopes up.
Oh, okay.
There's one thing for say, I own all the DVDs. I have BritBox. I can watch them all there. But there's something about something akin to old TV where basically you turn on the TV and someone has decided for you what Doctor Who episode is going to be on there. And there's a certain frisson of like excitement of like, oh my God, the Sunbakers is on right now. I haven't seen the Sunbakers in a while, and all of a sudden it's there.
Shudder does that.
Yeah.
Shudder has like 3 different channels on top of its app where it just pops in whatever it's showing live.
Yeah.
And so you can just tune in halfway through some horror.
They're recreating TV.
Oh my gosh.
Enough.
Well, in a nice way.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do that. Like when I'm busy having to focus on something, I just tune in Star Trek Next Generation channel, and then I feel like I'm on the Enterprise. Just working.
Just like 10-hour loop of like bridge and engineering noises in the background or something.
I'm one of the ops officers working on my computer.
Okay.
Oh, here's some.
This is it. This is a very much a Yaz. Like I am heavily on board with the shipping of these two now, based on this scene alone. Like you can really tell that there's a connection between Yaz, the Doctor, and Ryan just saying, "Come on, the Doctor wants to do this. Let's go." And Graham's in the middle, oddly enough. Look at that forlorn look. They love each other.
You might be reading a little into this.
I'm too focused on the lens flares.
Yeah, that's a touching scene. Live great lives, and then this is the last we see. Like we don't know what happens in the Christmas special or the holiday special, but
they don't know what happens to her.
Yeah,
so.
I think she should also use the argument that listen, I've had all of these regenerations. You only get one life.
Yeah,
because I think that's fair. Yeah, just because there's something else I was watching recently where they said the same thing. Not in my real life.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
With my cats, they're looking at me like I've got 9.
Yeah, the cats go. We're invincible ×8.
No +1s. That was introduced with Eccleston, right? The +1 thing.
I think it was. Yeah, that's what I heard. At End of the World. I want to call.
Oh, that was such a good episode.
Yeah.
Moisturize me.
Yes.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned
they
that.
managed to take that ridiculous character and make her touching in attendance for a show.
I know.
Second,
the woman who Rose talks to, who gets zapped, I think, by those little crawling spiders in the vent, that actress reminded me of the actress that we saw earlier who we couldn't place and thought it was familiar.
Oh.
But it isn't her, obviously. That'd be a hell of a thing, though. Everything's really tying together today. He shivers with excitement. He's so giddy.
There's just so much material, I guess, since it's been going on for so long.
Yeah.
The information. Yeah, I don't fully understand his overall Cybes project plan.
No.
I don't think he does.
He's kind of like the dog who's chasing after the car. He doesn't know what to do when he catches it. He's just sort of like teeth are grabbed onto the bumper and it's in the parking lot. So now what do I do? I never thought I'd get it.
It's true.
I love the way he sort of backs off there as the Doctor gets closer. He's so great. They've always done well with casting masters, especially opposite Doctors. Like it feels like you need to cast it opposite the Doctor you have. Apart from Anthony Ainley, who I don't know who he best suited across the 3 or 4 Doctors that he matched up with. But, I can't think of Michelle Gomez across anyone but Peter Capaldi or,
No.
So maybe they are related in some way beyond just the regenerations.
Yeah. And when John Sim appeared in Capaldi's season finale, like it almost felt kind of weird. Like you're David Tennant's master. I don't think you should be here.
But it works because he's a foil to Missy.
He's the foil.
Much, right?
Yeah, he's not the main master. Yeah.
Wow. When have they filmed the next season already? Or not yet?
They have filmed the holiday special. Okay. As of recording right now in late October, we haven't had a start date for recording for the new season. But it very well, by the time this comes out, they'll probably know it because I think Chris Chibnall is writing something in Doctor Who magazine, the next one that's coming out for us, dear listeners of the future. So the fact that he's got something it'd be very silly to say, yep, still nothing happening. Thanks for joining me on this Doctor Who magazine.
Yeah, I just didn't know what their restrictions were on filming because of COVID and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a good question.
Because they only started allowing filming here in LA, within the past probably 2 months.
Yeah.
They're doing it here, and it's going great guns because we have a better handle on it, I guess, COVID-wise. Than
see, here's the bit. Like I've heard anyway. He literally wants it. Like
that's interesting.
I think his whole mission here is to be yeah, look how low I have brought you, to be the one to kill him, essentially. It's such a dark portrayal of that character that it kind of makes the mania make sense.
It's one of my favorite episodes of Next Generation where Data has to make the decision to kill his captor and the best toys. I don't know if you remember that episode.
Oh, yeah. With
yes.
Saul Rubinek,
Saul Rubinek.
yeah.
And he's like, I cannot allow this to continue. And then he gets beamed away. Powerful. It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah. Like had they beamed him up, like if, Chief O'Brien is like, was it right up and down or down up? Like if he had faltered for a second, there'd be a dead Saul Rubinek as Data gets beamed up to the Enterprise.
Not Saul Rubinek.
Saul Rubinek.
Yeah, from that episode, yeah.
He, I think Robin Williams is going to be in that episode initially.
Oh,
Wait,
interesting.
did I remember that?
Saul Rubinek, Canadian. I
He
believe.
is
Yes, he is.
Canadian, yeah.
He was in the show The Hunters. It's like a new Nazi hunter show on.
Yeah, it was on Amazon,
yes.
wasn't it? Yeah.
He's also, I think, in The Apprenticeship of Duddy Kravitz.
He's in a lot of
A
stuff.
very Canadian
He's
film.
he's sort of been cast in a lot of supporting roles for Toronto-based productions.
Oh, he's great in Unforgiven, which they filmed in Alberta.
Oh
Apparently-
yes, I've seen that clip of him. Yeah.
Apparently, it was David Rappaport who was
Oh,
in
I
the
knew
role
there was this.
before Saul Rubinek took it over.
Yeah, David Rappaport sadly died, which is why Saul Rubinek took over.
Yeah.
It's just interesting too that with Star Trek Picard, there's that gateway, to the other dimension where I don't know what's supposed to be over there, but towards the end of it, it seems to be a theme.
Other dimensions. Rose Tyler's in that other dimension. That's who's there in
true.
Picard.
There's enough shipping happening already. I don't think we need more.
Billy Piper in season
Or
2
two.
of Picard.
Whatever. Throw some more shipping on the fire.
Yeah.
Ouch.
He took a lot of bullets. He took a lot of cyber bullets to be able to.
Sorry, Gandalf.
Yeah, I didn't notice. He was
That's how the laser cooling technique works.
Is that how it is?
Sadly,
real
yes.
science at work here.
They're just
Functioning
crumbs.
chameleon circuits. This is the stuff of dreams right here.
Definitely, yeah, because it never worked his chameleon circuit for the Doctor in the old school, right? It,
Never did.
it was only the Masters one that seemed to work well.
Yeah.
Although did it work well? It was like most of the time it was like some ionic column.
Yeah, or a grandfather clock on Gallifrey, which is a dead giveaway.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
cool.
there's a grandfather clock. There's like this column in like 140 million years BC.
The clock kind of freaked me out though, because I would always look at clocks as a kid when I saw them, like, it's kind of weird.
Is the mask gonna pop out of there? I love that the tree is a TARDIS.
Nice.
Yeah, should have stole that one. Should have taken that one. I suppose all of her stuff is in the other one. You don't want to have to move stuff.
It's true.
Besides,
Oh, I didn't
how would the
notice.
Jadoon find her in the other one anyway?
Yeah, they wouldn't know, would they? They follow their GPS. Is there some AI going on? Some Windows phones, perhaps? What do they use, I wonder?
Yes, the old Windows phones, long forgotten.
That's got to be what
They're
they
next to the
use.
Blackberries and the sidekicks.
Jadoons, or maybe Jadoons are like,
I had to really go into the dusty corners of my mind.
boy,
for that
did
one.
you? Yeah.
There's a massive fight going on between my two cats right now. It's like the Master and the Doctor.
Quick, get costumes on them.
Yeah.
Really cute, the facial expressions. So wow, that's adorable.
It's sure to be a moderately successful TikTok.
And this is very much a David Tennant, because the season would end and he'd land
Yeah.
somewhere and he would go what.
His name should be Fiona.
Also, this is a
Fiona the hippo from the Cincinnati Zoo. Space Fiona.
this that sound effect is from, I believe, from Half-Life 2, because I heard it over and over and over.
Oh, really?
again,
Oh, wow.
trying to escape a room.
I really hope that's shot up. I mean, there's enough pandering in this episode, in this
Right?
series
And
that,
like the
why not
Shada
have it
kind of
be
looks
Shada?
like that too.
Oh,
That's
but
the
I
thing.
thought
Oh, but it'd be
I thought
great.
Shada never
The guy-
happened. The episode.
Oh, it did. Well,
they sort of reconstructed it.
yeah. They put it on a Blu-ray.
Oh,
But
Animated.
the Shada has the most ridiculous 70s costume you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, dear
Giant
God.
hat I've seen
So
or recall. So he
glorious.
better show up in that outfit.
All dressed in
at the
silver?
Patty
Yeah.
show.
He was the Nightmare in Silver.
Like, he's basically Elton John circa 1975.
It's so glorious. It's so glorious. No, they finished. They animated the bits that they didn't shoot, and like got most of the original cast back to do the voices and stuff. It came on a Blue, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. Shot it, did it? It's really good. It is so good. I kind of thought, okay, whatever. No, it's really, really good.
Romana's in it too,
really
right?
went to town on it.
Romana's in it. Yeah, Lala Ward's in there. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's very good. Just like this episode is good. We talked about bits of it. I think. Yeah, I think parts of it were there. But gosh, that was fun. What a way to wrap up a whole series of commentaries. Thanks, Anita, for dropping by. This was a ton of fun to nerd out about Doctor Who with you today.
Definitely, I love Doctor Who. So
it's fun, isn't it?
Let's do it.
Yeah. This is going out in early December. Is there anything? Where can people find you? Is there anything you want to plug? This is your time. The floor is yours to talk about whatever you wish.
Oh, I'm pretty active on social media. So if you want to ask me questions about what could be real in the Doctor Who universe, you can tweet me at Dr_Astro.
Cool.
I think I saw this on Twitter. You have a travel show happening?
Oh no, it's not. It's a Discovery Channel space show.
Oh, okay.
And I'm hosting 2 episodes.
Get out.
Gotcha.
Really? Oh, wow. That's exciting.
Yeah, so they've been able to start filming again, so I know about that whole practice with the COVID protocols.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so do you know when that's coming out?
I think we just shot the footage, so they probably have to process it in 2021. So who knows? It'll be sometime in 2021.
So it's not shot live, is what you're saying, like old school Doctor Who essentially was. That's just, no. We shot it yesterday. It's coming out in a week. There you go. No,
but it's funny because there are a lot of British production companies who do American shows, and they love to do things out in the desert, like on Route 66, because for them it's like, oh my God, it's Route 66. It's American.
Yeah.
We're like, it's just a road.
Smell nowhere. Who cares?
Exactly.
It's like people come to Vancouver. Oh, the mountains. I'm like, oh yeah, the things I see.
Yeah, I know.
It's not really big deal.
Yeah, we drove 4 hours to go see them the other day. They go, wow, mountains. It's so cool. Jealous. Well, it's been superb. Great round of commentaries. Thanks to all our guests on this, and thanks to you, Anita, for being on this one. And next week, we'll be back with more episodes of Radio Free Skaro. Who knows what's on the show in a week's time, because we're recording this late October, and you're listening to this in near Christmas time. I imagine you're all probably looking forward to the Doctor Who holiday special and stuff, and perhaps looking at all the snow on the ground and just wondering what a wonderful utopian future you live in December of 2020.
Or dystopian, depending on what happens in less than a week's time for us.
Who knows?
2 months hence for you.
Who knows, anyone? All right. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
Chris in Edmonton.
Anita in Los Angeles.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.